Oh my God, we're going to talk about this image very, very shortly. Stay tuned for the last 5 minutes of the video as I explain my heartbreak and heartache with what's happened with the entertainment industry in the last 20 to 30 years. But look at this fucking image. This is the latest image that Zack Snyder's posted on his Instagram. He isn't going to stop. He either knows something's going to happen with the Snyderverse or he's pushing for it because he knows Warner Brothers is about to be sold. Anyhow, he ain't hurting anyone by posting this stuff. Look at this fucking picture, everyone. This is a fucking Polaroid. A screen test, I think, a costume test, right? Of Henry Cavill in the costume. It's a fucking Polaroid that looks better than any Superman image James Gunn put into his final cut, his final edit of Superman in his Superman film this summer. A fucking Polaroid is better, a better image of Superman, again I repeat, than anything James Gunn put in his Superman movie. I'm not messing about with you. It's not an opinion. It's not a debate. It's a fucking fact. Look at this motherfucker. He looks amazing. It's beautiful. And as Zack describes him, this is pure Superman or whatever he said. Wow. It's amazing. I don't want to put this down. I can't stop looking at how perfect this image is. But I'm going to put the phone down now and we're going to discuss it. Because we do need to discuss what all these posts mean. We do need to discuss this. I think it's very important to discuss what's going on. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of opinion going on since Zack Snyder's been posting pictures of Batfleck, Leto's Joker and Superman. And there's a big debate out there what this all means. And I think, look, Snyder is doing what he was doing when he was fighting for the Snyder Cut over on Vero. There's no question about that. He's using the same tactics. He started off posting pictures of his last photograph shoot. And we thought, yeah, that's why he's got Instagram. He's going to promote his movies now. He's back in the game making cinematic movies. Good for him. Let's support the dude, right? But all of a sudden, he started posting these Snyderverse pics. And I believe it's for good reason. He knows, he can smell blood. He knows something can happen here. Or he knows something is going to happen. Anyhow, he's using the same tactics as he was with the Release the Snyder Cut campaign. He wants you and he wants me to keep on hashtagging Sell Snyderverse to Netflix. And I'm going to do that, and I'm sure you're going to do that. And I would encourage you to do that. Now, I did a video telling you that I don't really like Netflix. I don't like the way they conduct themselves. I don't like the toxic way they treat Henry Cavill over The Witcher. But maybe that was a Lauren showrunner thing rather than a Netflix thing. So, look, I respect the platform that Netflix created. It was so inventive and, it lit the blue touch paper. It changed the game, and I get that. But I don't like them. I don't like modern day entertainment. I don't like what's happened to modern entertainment. They refuse to give audiences an experience, right? And that really pisses me off and fucks me off if I'm being honest. But if hashtagging Sell Snyderverse to Netflix inspires Netflix to buy Warner Brothers Discovery and they restore the Snyderverse from that, then I'm all for it. And as long as they allow Zack his creative freedom, his creative artistic integrity, then I don't really care how shitty Netflix are, because they're all shitty. All entertainment companies are shitty. They're users, they use their talent as commodities. They're horrible fucking people. And it doesn't matter what company that is. And even if Netflix do restore the Snyderverse, that doesn't change all the shitty, bad things that they've done. But hey, I'm a Snyder fan, I'm a DC fan. First and foremost, I'm a DC fan, right? And I'm not about, everything is about Snyder. Right? I believe, even though I love what Snyder did with Superman and Batman and, his Joker in the Snyder Cut and all of the stuff he did, his Wonder Woman is peak, his cyborg. I mean, I never knew how you could do a cyborg perfect, and he cast the perfect actor in Ray Fisher. So I love what Snyder does, but that doesn't mean I don't believe that you can't make a big blue Boy Scout, paint by numbers Superman movie. Gunn had the opportunity to do that. He just didn't do it the right way. The whole thing with the squirrel and all that nonsense, that's not the way you do it. His Superman movie, as well as choosing horrible shot choices for Superman, and I think comic book movies, a lot of people say, well, how a movie looks isn't as important as the storytelling, the narrative, the writing, and they're right. And I think we've lost that in entertainment today, where the image has become more important than what's going on screen, and that's wrong. Because we're just watching films and television and streaming today that are empty vessels, right? That have got nothing. And that's no good, that's not interesting. That's why people don't go to cinema and movie theatres anymore. But I think with comic book movies, they should look beautiful. Snyder's comic book movies look beautiful. He uses CGI like a paintbrush. Very few directors do that. He's in control of what the VFX artists do. So it was very interesting when DJ was going to work on The Flash. And we were all saying, oh my God, well, look at what he's done with Zack. His visuals are going to be amazing. As we saw with the visuals for the Flash movie, they weren't great in a lot of places. That's not DJ's fault. But what Zack does is he works with the VFX artists. He doesn't do a Disney and go, right, there's 100 shots, deal with it. Zack sits there with the VFX artists and says, right, I want this, that, and the other, right? He works with them. He'll listen to them, I'm sure. But he knows how he wants to use CGI. He knows how he wants to use computer-generated images. He understands the technology. One of the things I understood from the beginning when I saw the first movie I saw from him, which was 300, I saw the trailer and I thought, fucking hell, this is beautiful. It was the first time I saw CGI used in that way. Not even George Lucas, who pretty much invented the technology of CGI through a department at Lucasfilm and ILM. He literally invented the fucking technology, and I loved a lot of the CGI he did in the prequels. A lot of people say it's bad CG. I disagree. I mean, the pod race is fucking beautiful. All the, the creatures he created using CGI. The CGI Yoda, absolutely fantastic. But Zack Snyder is able to take CGI and use it as an art form, right? I miss the old days of practical effects. And I think films use too much CGI. I believe CGI should be used to touch physical effects up, to make them better, not to take the place of physical effects, because we've lost the artistry of matte paintings, right? And, the physical effects, right? They're using CGI to paint, to do houses, skylines. It's wrong. Just go outside and fucking shoot a movie or a TV show, you twats. Anyway, my point is, it's not just about the visuals with Zack Snyder. He makes serious, compelling comic book fare. Now, Man of Steel isn't just his baby. It's Goya's baby, right? It's Goya's and Nolan's baby. Goya had the vision for a First Contact story. Nolan co-wrote the story with him. And then Goya wrote the screenplay. Now, you've got to understand about Man of Steel. All the action and destruction had nothing to do with Zack Snyder. Yes, he directed it. He made it look amazing. But it was WB who demanded 100% action and destruction. But WB did a Homer Simpson creeping back into the fucking hedge. You know that gif, right? They never admitted that, and they let Zack Snyder take the blame. Now, I'm not blaming Zack Snyder because I loved all that destruction. It worked with the narrative of the fucking movie, right? Fuck off. But the point being, it was WB who wanted all that action because everyone was complaining that Superman Returns didn't have enough action and it was boring. People said it was boring. I didn't think Superman Returns was boring, but I could see what the people were saying. who said it was boring and didn't have enough action. And Superman Returns absolutely didn't have enough action. Still a great Superman movie, much better than Gunn's piece of shit, right? Sorry, James, I don't like your movie. I don't hate you. I don't have any personal issues with you. I'm a Superman fan. I thought you didn't have a proper vision for the movie. You borrowed off of Donner's vision, you borrowed off of Snyder's vision, and didn't have your own vision for Superman. You knew you couldn't shoot a great Superman movie. You told them, and they didn't fucking listen to you. The only reason you wrote a Superman movie was so you could make a Suicide Squad movie, because they told you you had to write a Superman movie or they wouldn't let you write and direct a Suicide Squad movie. So you did it. They twisted your arm. Then you didn't want to direct that movie, and in the end they forced you into directing it. So they put you in a horrible position. I understand that, James, but I don't like your movie. I don't like how the shot choices that you chose for Superman. I think they're ugly. You made David Corenswet, the very handsome young man, look ugly as Superman. That's a very hard thing to do, James. So it was a cheap, rushed, lazy movie. And how this movie made 615 million globally, I don't know. Because actually that's a great result for such a bad movie, but it still didn't make a profit. But they're lucky, if they were telling the truth about that box office, that it even made that. Man of Steel made about 668, didn't it? But it's not always about box office. This is what I think about movies. Now we're going to talk about the thing I promised I would talk about. And that is the pain I feel about what's happened to entertainment. I grew up within this biz. I grew up within this industry. My dad, as I keep on boring on about, and I'm proud of it, that's why I brag about it, worked for a studio in Hollywood. He dragged us to Hollywood, California. We did a few years at high school while he worked there. On a Saturday, he would drag me to work because me and my brother used to have punch-ups and my mum couldn't handle it. And I was around all these great people that made movies, the business people. And you know, some of them who are still alive today, you know, they call me sometimes, ask me if I'm okay, because they worry about me because I lost both my mum and dad now. And that's a wonderful thing that I grew up in this industry. But it hurts me. And let me tell you what hurts me the most. When you look at Man of Steel and James Gunn's Superman, it sums up what we used to have and what we have today. So Man of Steel is this deep take, this deep contemporary 9/11 take on Superman. It works for the modern day. It's brilliant. But even if you don't like the movie, there's a vision there. It wants you to have an experience at the very least. So even if you hated that take on Superman, you still had an experience. Superman by James Gunn is content. It's not been made to give you a personal experience, to make you feel love and laughter and all of that. It's something that's just there because they needed to make some content to launch the DCU. That's what depresses me. That's the problem. We've got this David Ellison twat who runs Paramount now, who is blacklisting actors who say free Palestine. Yeah, he's throwing money, he wants to embrace AI. Imagine this. They ruined their own fucking industry, right? With identity politics by swapping talented people for activists, right? And they think, how can we fix this? I know, artificial intelligence. This is how fucking stupid. It offends me, everyone. After me and my brother saw Superman for the Quest for Peace, a movie that most of you will think is shit. It had problems, budgetary problems, that the budget was withdrawn, but they tried still, even with that, to create an experience. When we got home, we went in the garden. My brother was Nuclear Man and I was Superman, because we experienced something. We didn't care about the histrionics behind the scenes of Superman for the Quest for Peace. We enjoyed the aspect of the fight between Nuclear Man and Superman. The double date was fucking hilarious, more funnier than anything you get in James Gunn's Superman. And that fucking speech Superman makes to the UN, it still makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. And this is what films lack today. There's no experience. There's no effort to give you an experience. That's what movies were supposed to be and are not anymore. It's offensive to them for you to demand a great movie, for you to demand something that you enjoy. They believe it's about seeing yourself on the screen without giving you a character, a personality, or a storyline. This is what we've lost today. This is why I don't watch movies anymore, and I don't watch modern day streaming or television, because it's shit. And they don't care that it's shit. Lauren, who run The Witcher, doesn't care that it flopped. When you get a critical drinker and nerdrotic going, ah, it's a flop, haha, Lauren, do you really think she gives a shit? She made her point. She's going to leave the catastrophe about, shrug her shoulders, and move on. And that's new Hollywood, everyone, compared to old Hollywood.